You should prepare now for the upcoming GUDAGUDA event to not waste any of your time and ability power. I will explain to you why you should start now instead of waiting until September, because the event will come out somewhere at start or mid-September, for what you should exactly prepare for and how you can do that. First of all, why should you start preparing now? Or better, as soon as possible for the event? Because FGO is quite a stupid game when it comes to AP in comparison with Honkai Star Rail. Because if you look at Honkai Star Rail, you can try as many things as you want, you can experiment with whatever you want without costing it you any ability power. The only thing that is holding you back in Honkai Star Rail, the characters that you have, and not the build. Because in the Divergent universe in Honkai Star Rail, even if you have a character level 1, it adds placeholder light cones, relics, traces, everything you need to even to play the character. So even if you have a character level 1, you can still play with them. And if you got your characters already built, you can still play the Divergent universe, of course. There's also Memory of Chaos, Pure Fiction, Apocalyptic Shadow, to get to know your characters, the enemies, the game mechanics surrounding those, and have as much fun as you can. But in FGO, everything costs ability power. Sure, you have a lot of that, but even though, in the long term, it adds up. And yes, the reason why everything costs ability power in FGO is because everything gives you rewards, like QP, materials, bonds. You cannot experiment freely. You need to try and error if you don't prepare. So that is why I highly recommend you to prepare for the upcoming event, so that you don't waste your ability power and doing all of that pain in the butt things. And of course, we have an advantage knowing what the event is going to look like, what the quests are, because JP is 2 years ahead. You may be like, I don't want to see who we are fighting against because you're afraid to get pulled. I get that. But for me, personally, I don't mind, because I don't have context who or what the boss is. I can deal with that. But if you are not fine with that, then of course you can just go blindly into the event, because this preparation is only for the fights, of course. So it is all up to you if you want to prepare. So now that we know why we should prepare for the GUDAGUDA event, we should have a look for what we can prepare, of course. There are 3 main things we can prepare for. That is the difficult main quests, the free quest farming levels, of course, and in this case the only thing I care about is the level 90 ++ node, and the challenge quest. So let's start with the main quest. How can we prepare for that? Well, how I play the main quest is by having this site right here open while playing the event, so I can see what the enemy layout looks like and change my team according to that. This way I don't get into a situation where I have a single target DPS servant against 12 enemy servants, which will take like 20 minutes to complete, or getting into a situation seeing there are 99 enemies to kill and you are there like scratching your head like, well, am I supposed to kill all of them? Will this battle be over in 4 turns? Am I supposed to kill a certain number of them? Am I supposed to kill a certain one of them? That's why having this main quest window open for you, it will make it much easier to know what you should do, because there are many situations like the battle ends when your whole party is wiped out, or when the enemy servant has used their MP, and you won't know that if you didn't have the main quest window open in front of you. For example, this main quest. You can see there are 99 enemies on the field, and if you defeat 10 of them, the battle will end. Well, if you didn't have this window open, you would have never known that you should kill 10. After 6 you may be like, damn, how much longer will this take me? Or like this quest in the main quest. You see that all enemies have AoE NP damage resistance, and the battle ends when you defeat one specific enemy of these 6 enemies. So if you go into this quest with your AoE DPS, you'll be like, why am I not doing damage? Bye bye 5 AP. And now the most important quest, and that is the free quest, the level 90 ++ node specifically, because that is where you will be farming most of your event currency. Well, now the free quest. If you have a look at the level 90 ++ quest, you can see it looks quite simple at first, but yeah, the second wave, the 1 million moon cancer, will be quite a pain in the ass. To make your life as easy as possible, just use the event servant with the highest damage bonus, and those are of course these 3 right here. I personally will be using EO, but if you plan to summon for these 2, you can use them of course. But just use whoever you have built, even if you have built one of these characters with the 50 or 30% damage up, use them. And of course, it goes without saying, use the event craft essence, which is this one, on as much servants as possible to make your farming as efficient as possible. And if you have chosen your DPS, which could be either one of them, use the best in slot servant for them, which in most cases is Castoria. The strategy I personally will use and recommend to not overcomplicate things is to do it like this. Clear the first wave with your DPS, his Noble Phantasm, which should be charged with your support, of course, which in this case could be Castoria or whoever you have. But you don't need to use your Noble Phantasm if you got lucky and your DPS has 2 or 3 cards already, and just use that. Because the HP of the first assassin is just 190k. You could easily kill him if you just use EO, for example. So only use your MP first wave if you didn't get lucky with the cards. And for the second wave, if you did use your Noble Phantasm the first wave, then charge the Noble Phantasm of your DPS with a command spell. But if you didn't use your Noble Phantasm the first wave, then you can use your Noble Phantasm now and just try to shred the enemy as fast as possible, which will take around 2 to 5 turns, depending how lucky you get, of course. And you might be like, why should I use a command spell? Well, to speed everything up, because otherwise it will take a lot of turns to charge a Noble Phantasm, to get things going. But if your servant isn't Noble Phantasm dependent, then of course, then this wouldn't apply to you. But assuming you're using EO, which has 100% damage up in this event, I highly recommend that. Since you get one command spell every day and the event runs for around 3 weeks, the level 90 plus node unlocks after the first week. So the first week you're farming just normally, and then you have 2 weeks the time to farm the level 90 plus quest. So like I said, if you used your NP the first wave, use a command spell the second wave to charge your and shred the enemy as fast as possible. And of course, it may not one-shot the enemy, only if you have maybe like Oberon, but assuming you don't, it will just take a bit longer. So I recommend to farm this quest until you don't get lucky with your command spells, because the first wave you can just one shot with 2 or 3 command spells of your DPS, and the second wave you don't need to use a command spell because you have your NP already charged, because you didn't use him the first wave. So you do that cycle until you need a command spell, and if you have used a command spell that day, just put the rest of your AP that day in blue apples, or farm whatever you need to farm, the main story, interlude, rank up quest, whatever you need. I recommend to put it in blue apples because we have a lottery event coming up in a month or 2. And if you use this strategy, you might be farming this level 90 plus quests like once or twice or thrice a day, depending if you got lucky the first wave. And that will be more than enough, I'd say, because if you do this for 2 weeks, you will eventually just easily buy out the shop. Because I personally never buy this silver XP material, because I just sell it to mana prisms. You can buy it if you need the mana prisms, of course. I also never buy these silver materials because I have too much of them, and the gold ones you could buy, of course, if you need them. So that is why just doing this quest once or twice per day, depending on how lucky you get, is more than enough for 2 weeks to just buy whatever you need in the shop. But it is absolutely up to you what you need. If you need to do it more than once or twice or thrice a day this quest, then just do it. And now the challenge quest. To be honest, it is quite easy and straightforward. I will tell you this. All you need is a crazy single target NP servant or a crit servant, and then you will be fine. And how you will be fine, I will explain that to you right now. Well, there are 2 strategies to clear this challenge quest. The first strategy is, of course, to understand the mechanic and using it to our advantage. And all of this text basically means this. EO is almost unkillable because of all of these resistances she got. She got like a 75% quick, arch, buster resistance, heals every turn. She even got the MP damage resistance, a critical attack resistance. So using all of these mechanics that is here in this text to our advantage will make it way easier. Well, what are the mechanics then of EO? It is quite simple, luckily. It is like this. At the start of every turn of hers, she summons a tree. If 4 trees have been summoned this way, all the trees disappear and all her buffs disappear, which gives you only 1 turn to one-shot her first HP bar, which is 1 million HP. And if you missed that one turn to one-shot her, then you messed up. She gets all those buffs back, and then I'd highly recommend to restart the challenge and try again. And so if you did manage to deplete her first HP bar, then you will be fine. Then just use 1 or 2 cards of your DPS to kill the 66k HP, because that's not a lot. So the strategy is to survive until 4 trees have been summoned and one-shot her first HP bar in one go, using crits or a single target DPS NP. You can use all sorts of strategies and mechanics to beat this challenge quest. A way could be like buff your DPS, use plug suit, switch them back to the line so they don't get attacked. Time it so that a servant of yours gets killed and that your DPS comes back in with all those buffs until you get that free turn to one-shot her. Just use whatever your servant roster makes possible. Have fun looking at what servants you have available to do that. Read your skills, plan it out. I will use that way because it's way more fun. But there's also a second strategy to clear this challenge quest, and that is just to one-shot her without looking at any mechanics. Just use an Oberon with a level 100 Black Grill on your DPS with 2 Koya Light and just shred the first HP bar. That also works too. I saw videos on YouTube of people doing that. But I personally don't have Oberon, don't have Koya White, I even don't have Castoria, but I do have a level 100 Black Grill, but even that won't be enough without those supports. So I personally will be using the first strategy. It's also way more fun, I'd say. And since no command spell will be needed for this challenge quest, because if you miss that one turn to one-shot, she gets all those buffs back and yeah, then you messed up. Using a command spell to revive your party or whatever won't be enough. So that's why I recommend to use your command spells on the level 90++ node. But if you need to command spell for story bosses because you haven't finished Lost Belt 5, 6, 7 or what have, just do it on that. And now you know all of this. You already might have an idea what servants you could use for the main quest, for the free quest, for the challenge quest. So I recommend to make a team comp in your game, put right there challenge quest, GUDAGUDA event, level 90++ quest, GUDAGUDA event, and build those characters up. But do not forget that when building your orphans you plan to use, that the shop also gives you materials, of course. So try not to overfarm your characters. So try to plan it, look at what materials you already get, and just have fun thinking what servant you plan to use. I bet you're like, wow, you're a genius. Then you're absolutely wrong, because this video proves the opposite.